Hola, hola. Hola, hola. Hola, hola. Ay, a ver. Poquito difícil, pero bueno, ahí va. Ahí está ya. Bueno. Eh, let's start sharing. This is basically the first thing I like to do on every stream. And it's actually share what I'm going to do. That's one. And this is two. Okay. So what are we going to do today? Let me see. Here. Um, I've been watching and rewatching this entire chapter for around 3 times already. Um, I was pretty much just putting my entire attention into this chapter, into this section 7, which is named quite properly actually the Model View Controller. It's a philosophy for software development. Um, I didn't actually try this out fully for any other project in the past because of the very simple reason that I didn't have to. The project was already separated in responsibilities, not really in software roles like in this case, but people responsibilities. For example, I was backend development, and inside the stack, I wasn't entirely in charge of the backend of the entire backend. That includes the data and the business logic, etc. I was pretty much just working with business logic side of things, and the data sources were provided for me already, so I didn't have to worry about data anymore or too much. So, what is the model view controller? Basically, it's a software development technique that allows me to separate responsibilities, but not with people. Yet those responsibilities are divided in software roles. Let's say. Um, let's begin with the model. What is the model? The model is basically the data. All things that have to do with data are considered to be the model. Let's say text files, for example. If you have or files in general, they are considered to be in the model. As long as you use them to gather data, that is supposed to be the model. Database tables, those are considered to be the model, or MongoDB collections, those are considered to be the model. So anything that has to do with data and store data and save data for later use and queue and query data for showing stuff on the screen. Well, uh, everything that has to do with data, that's the model. What's the view? Well, I've been working mainly with the view at this point. Basically, I've been working as a front-end developer so far. And in this case, the views are actually that just the views is what the end user sees and interacts, basically. The view is only what the user sees. So any programming logic inside there should be geared towards basically just animations, very simple stuff. We may put some logic, and many developers do, on the views. But I'm not a fan of doing that because you are mixing two different things together. The business logic should be different from what happens in the view. The view is what the user sees. Now, What's the controller? The controller is what actually connects the view with the data, in this case, the model. So basically, the controller um, makes the connection between the data or the model and the view. With this, what this means is that all the business logic and the code that work with the business logic or the logic of your app is going to be contained in as a controller. So um, right now, I am reviewing this section again, and I pause the video here, and I'm going to be rewatching sections of this chapter as I need to basically remember what I need to do. But first, well, that's all the recap. Let's see where are we. Okay, this is the repository. So let's see where are we here. And there we go. It seems like there is a merge request already. It doesn't seem I am still on the local feature branch, and the origin develop is behind. So for what I gather, I haven't submitted the changes. So the first thing I need to do is to merge the merge request into the develop branch. So let's do that. Oh, wait. Let's see if there are any changes pending. No. Okay, let's push everything. Everything seems to be up to date to this branch, I guess. So let's open GitLab. And let's merge the merge request into the develop branch. Okay, where is my project? Okay, now let's see merge request. There we go. Here it is. The last time I worked on this was 2 days ago, but I believe that I just finished everything there. So this merge request remain open, so I never actually create the merge, but I'm going to do it right now. I don't remember, but I think it's done, so I don't need to do anything else here. Okay, so that's it. Now here, let's check out into the development branch. Okay, that's weird. Oh wait, I made a mistake here. There we go. Now let's check out into the development branch. There we go. If we do a git log here to see where are we can see that the developed local branch and the remote branch are on the same spot right now. But let's remember that I haven't done this, the git pull, to get all the changes that came with the merge. And now I'm going to get all the changes, which is basically just one single file was modified. And that's it, basically. And now if I repeat the git log, I can see that I am my local and my remote branch are on the same point, yet they are a commit in the future, basically. So right now, let's see the branches. And right now, I can delete this already. I'm no longer going to need that branch anymore. I forgot about the D option. There we go. And that's it basically. Now, Let's close this. Now, I'm going to create a new branch in order to work with the refactoring process to build this web application as a model view controller application. So the first thing I need to do is create a new branch like this. And I'm going to call it feature dash MVC. And that stands for model view controller. Probably I should just type it directly. I am not really a fan of obscure abbreviation. So maybe I do know what MVC means, but other people reading this without my help may not know what this actually means. So it doesn't hurt to be clear. Okay. And that's it. Get a status. And we can see everything is clean. And I am on the same spot as the develop branch at this point. Now let's open Visual Studio Code on this folder. And let's make a quick review of the folder structure. As I mentioned here, I wonder if you can actually see. I wonder if I can just 1, 2, 3. That should make easier for you to see. Maybe 4. There we go. This may allow you to see what's going on Visual Studio Code way easier. I'm going to lose a lot of space on my screen. Yet I've been receiving messages that they say that they can barely see what's going on, especially when they are watching this on a phone. So I found out how to zoom the entire graphical user interface. It's not optimal by any means, but that's something I'm going to be working on how to fix that to properly show you without me losing a lot of space. But anyway. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take a look into what I already have. In this case, you may think that I already have some separation of responsibilities on these folders. Let's open the views, because the views is basically one of the important sections of the model view controller philosophy. And I already have views. You can see the first page, which is index. I can see clearly here, there we go, that I do have a lot of HTML code here, as well as EGS code includes here. You see, all the EGS tags are basically just inserting calls to other include files. Basically just importing code from other files, from partials, in order to make this work easier for me and modify repeating elements way easier. For example, the navigation bar, the head tag for the page, the bootstrap file carousel, all those things that may repeat themselves over and over. Those are the things that I'm going to be refactoring as partials. But anyway, in the same vein, all the other pages are working pretty similar, just the view. I don't see any code managing data or managing business logic. That's not my intention. Okay, let's close this. And that's the views. Let's say that in the model view controller, I already have some work done on the views folder. Now let's open the route folder, where most of the routing behavior is going on. Let's open the index JavaScript file. Oh, wait. There we go. So here in the index.js file, we do get a couple of variables that are going to be, the first one is Express. I am importing the Express library. That's basically in order to be able to use the routers. And right here, I actually use the express variable in order to create a new instance of the router class. Here, this function is going to return a router object, and it's going to be saved inside this router variable. Then I use this router variable, or this router, which contains a get method in order to create the first endpoint, basically. I need to pass it a couple of parameters. The first one is going to be the path that is going to be required to use alongside this get method. I'm going to need the root to access this get method with the method is going to be get. The path is going to be the root of the page. And the second parameter is going to be a function. In this case, it's an anonymous function here, which is going to be passing three parameters: the request, the response, and the next function that allows me to pass the pointer of the script to the next thing to be executed. If I call this next function, I'm going to exit this function itself, and I'm going to execute whatever is next in this file. And the last line, I only get this module exports line, which allows me to export the router to the app.js file. Let's see that here. So this export over here is going to export this router object inside this file. So where I'm going to be using this, this export over here is going to be used on this app.js application file. And where I'm going to use that? Well, on line number 7, I do have a variable called index router, and it's importing the index router file. See, this file is going to be imported by the app.js file. And here, I'm going to say that router inside this index router variable. Down here, I'm going to this add variable, which is actually expressed here on line 21. I am calling this express this express method, I believe, and it's going to create an express application. And I'm going to say that express application inside this add variable. The add variable on line 33 is going to make use of the index router using the root path. It's a little bit convoluted, I know, but that's how I am setting up the project right now. Now, you may have an idea of how hard could it be to make a change, and now I need to take care about a lot of things. But let's do this one step at a time. So the first thing I need to do is, for example, I need to create the model view controller. Is going to require a separation of responsibilities. I already have the views. I am missing the model and the controller. My first step is not going to be to create the model. I'm going to create the controller like this. I'm going to go back to the routes folder, and I'm going to reopen the index.js file. And here, I'm going to do some refactoring. If we see this, I'm going to do something very simple. If we read this is a method call using the router object. And it's going to use a couple of parameters. The first one I'm going to ignore because it's just the path. The second one is the one that I'm going to be refactoring. I'm going to pick up the entire function, the entire anonymous function, and I'm going to cut it from here. And there, oh wait, did I miss something? Yes, I missed this. It's up empty here. There we go. So now I cut the entire function, but I'm not done yet. I need to insert that function there yet on a different way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to call it controllers. I made a mistake here. I created the folder inside the route folder. And this should be, let's delete it. And this folder should actually be here on the root. There we go. It should be in the root of the project. Now, when we are working with the model view controller, I'm not going to be doing what I've been doing so far. For example, here in the route folder, I am creating one file per route, basically one route file per web page. If I have a comunicado web page, I'm going to create a route web page and so forth. Well, this is the first thing I'm going to change in a radical way on the project. I'm not going to be creating one single route and importing that single route into the app every time I create a new page. Because as time passes and I increase the pages or the features on the website, this folder is going to grow way too big to be manageable. And we not only need to learn what every single file does, but making changes in large scale may feel a little bit too odd or maybe too hard to do. So what I'm going to do in the controller folder, I'm going to create one file that is going to control the behavior of every other page on this website. That sounds like a monolith, but not really, and I'm going to show you why. The first problem I'm going to find is what name I'm going to use for the file. So let's say all of these files are basically just refactored web pages from the static website. So maybe I could call the controllers pages or something like that. Let's see. Let's create a new file. And this file is going to be called web pages.javascript. Probably it's not a good name because it's way too generic. So I'm not going to be naming it like this. This is an issue for programmers, or at least for me. Naming things is one of the hardest things I have to do on this on this job. Let me think. Let's not dwell too much on the name right now. Web pages seems generic, but it actually fits pretty well on what I'm going to do here because all of these pages, mind you, all of them are basically just static web pages. Maybe I can say this: static web pages. Rename or static pages. Let's say more generic even. Static content. So this file is going to manage all the static content on the website, which is basically the entire website at this point, but in the future it may not be. For other things like dynamic content, let's say a dashboard or some reports maybe, those could be managed by another controller. But for this, for what I gathered today, static content should be enough. Now here, what I'm going to be writing here is the same function. I just pasted it here, but this is not going to work as is because it doesn't have any name. So I'm going to take a look at the video, and here, let me move forward a little bit. This point here, that's what we are. Okay, there we go. So what I'm going to do here is an export. I'm going to export this anonymous function and set it a name. So let's do that. Oh, something happened there. I see that in the course, uh, he's actually using the big arrow in order to do the anonymous function to write it. So maybe I should transition to that too. Let's delete this and let's make the big arrow function symbol, and everything else should be the same. I believe res render index, um, add product, just perfect. I need to create the export with a name now. So this anonymous function is going to end up being exported with a name. So exports dot and the name in this case is going to be get index, I believe, because the index page is going to be rendered. So get or maybe get home page, get home. That may be more fitting. Get home page, I think is redundant. Just get home. That will be just enough, I guess. Let's see, what did he name it? Get add product. No, get home is more than enough. I do have something wrong there. Let's see. Oh yeah, because this is missing. There we go. So now I am assigning into this get home property the entire anonymous function. So now inside this file, I can do several exports. So if I want to include another web page, I should pretty much repeat this process. But let's continue with this page. Let's see. Okay, that's it, I guess. There we go. In line number 5, that's what we need to do. Basically, go back to the router file and import our new controller as a regular script here. So let's go back to the code. So we are pretty much done here at the moment. Let's remember this, get home. And let's go back to the router file. And here, I'm going to create a new variable called the naming convention he uses, the name of the page, I believe, and controller. Or may we say the name of the controller file and then the word controller. So we are going to say static content controller. In this case, I'm not using dashes. I am using Pascal case because it's JavaScript. Static content controller, and it's going to be equals to a require and we are going to pass one parameter. It's going to be an ID string. Okay, so the ID is going to be the entire path to the controller file. So I am where I am. Okay, yeah, I need to say dot dot to get up one level because I am inside this routes folder. I need to go back to the root and then get into the controller folder. So then I need to do this dash controllers folder, and the file I'm going to import is called static content. And that's it for here, for this line here. I just imported the new static content controller, and now I can use this variable name in order to return the code to this section here. How? Let's copy the name. And the second parameter should be a function. In order to use the get home function, I need to address the function like this. The name of the variable dot, and I can see here in the help that I get the get home property, which is a function. And in this case, we don't add parentheses. We don't run the function. We just pass the function itself as a parameter. That's why we don't use open and closing parentheses. That's basically the reason. So we pass through the function, the entire function, the get home function as a parameter to the get method on the router file. So here. And that's it. That's all I actually need to do in order to refactor this using controllers. So only the first page is working this way. So what I'm going to do now, let's open a new tab. And of course, I'm getting a mistake here. And this is going to be cd github. Okay, and now I'm going to do npm start. And I'm running the web server now. I should be able to see the website. And the index page, which is the first page, is actually working just the same. Everything is working. So basically what I did here was just a refactor. I removed all the anonymous function from the route file, and I created a controllers folder, and I created a static content file, which is going to control the behavior and the functions required to render everything. Okay, so this is just one file. And why I didn't name it index.js just as index.js down here is because this file is not just going to control the index page. It's going to control all the other pages. It's going to store the methods, or may I say the functions, to call the render of the rest of the pages. So now I need to begin doing just that. But first, let's make some commits. What did I do here? Here I refactor. Okay, let's see. Let's say content. There we go. The controller. And I'm going to paste the death. So basically, I am refactoring the website. Oh, wait. Okay, never mind. There we go. Let's make two different commits, one per file, just to be clear. And here, hola, bebé. Ah, vamos a comer. And here, I am Mira, ven. O ya te quieres bajar. Ah, ya. Bueno, a ver, rápido, mira. Hice cambios. Te voy a hacer. ¿Te acuerdas de las rutas? ¿No? Mira, voy a abrir cualquiera, ¿no? Casa de niños. Así son las rutas. ¿Ya viste? Son pues el código de la ruta, ¿no? Lo único que hice fue agarrar la función anónima completita, la quité de ahí, que es esto, ¿ya viste? Y este es otro código, pero ahorita va a ser, la corté y hice un nuevo folder llamado controladores en inglés. Y adentro creé un archivo que se va a llamar static content o contenido estático. Y ahí va a estar todos los routers, todas las funciones router van a estar ahí. Abro este archivo y literal, este es el código que pegué así, pam, pegado. Y lo único que hice fue mandar a llamar exports, que nos enseñó Ángela Yu, y le puse un nombre. Esta función va a ser asignada al atributo getHome, porque es la página de inicio, ¿no? Entonces, export getHome va a contener todo esto, ¿no? Como ya es un export, yo ya puedo importar este archivo completo en el route, así. Este es el archivo de route. Agregué la línea 3 y creé una variable que se llama static content, o sea, el mismo nombre del archivo, pero en formato de Pascal case. Controller, porque es un controlador. Ahora hago un require normal, me subo un folder, me meto luego a controllers y luego agarro el archivo static content JavaScript. Entonces, esta variable contiene este código, todo esto, ¿no? Para poderlo usar, donde lo corté originalmente, ahora tengo que poner el nombre de esta variable, ¿ya viste? Punto, y el atributo, que en este caso se llama getHome. Entonces, esto realmente se traduce a copiar y pegar todo esto ahí mismo. Y tengo el mismo comportamiento del index, ¿ya viste? Funciona igual. Pero ahora lo que tengo que hacer es esto. Bueno, ¿y esto qué ventaja tiene, no? Porque pues ahorita no tiene ninguna. Mira, voy a abrir otra, la de aviso. Si yo hago lo mismo, digamos, esto lo corto, ¿no? Me voy ahora al mismo archivo, güey. ¿Ya viste? Voy a hacer esto. Export punto aviso se llama, ¿no? Así. Va a ser igual. Y pego la función anónima. Y eso ya es otro export. Y ya no tengo que hacer otra cosa. Mira. Bueno, lo que sí hice fue quitar la palabra function y convertirla en una función de flecha gorda. Pero eso es estético más que nada. ¿Ya viste? O sea, eso porque en el curso está así con flechas gordas, ¿no? Entonces, eso es lo único que estoy cambiando así que se vea diferente, pues. Pero ahora, ¿cómo utilizo este YED aviso? Me voy al router, que se llama aviso JavaScript, y aquí repito todo igual. Voy a crear otra vez var, ¿no? Y voy a crear un archivo que se va a llamar, ¿cómo se llama ese? Creo que es el mismo, ¿no? O sea, esta línea la voy a copiar porque es lo mismo, exactamente lo mismo. Pero aquí lo voy a pegar en el otro archivo del router de aviso, ¿no? Ahora, copio esta variable que no está siendo usada, la pego acá y me refiero, ahora quiero usar el que le corresponde a aviso, que en este caso se llama getAviso, ¿no? Entonces, aquí me voy a aviso, voy a llamar punto y ahí me recomienda, ¿ya viste? GetHome o getAviso, no, pues getAviso. Y ya, no le pongo paréntesis porque no la voy a ejecutar. O sea, no voy a correr la función, la voy a pasar la función completa como si fuera un parámetro, ¿no? La voy a meter dentro de esto. Y eso solamente es refactor, ¿eh? Si yo me regreso a la página web, la refresco y me voy hasta abajo, creo que es aviso de privacidad, ¿no? Es esta. Wow, ahí está, ¿no? Ahora todas las lógicas de los archivos router ya no va a estar aquí. Van a estar, toda esa lógica va a estar en este archivo. ¿Ya viste? Y esa va a ser un archivo para todo el contenido estático. O sea, todo el contenido que viene del sitio original lo voy a routear usando estas funciones, ¿no? Y ese es el primer paso, a crear los controladores. Y todo se va a concentrar, todo el controlador de contenido estático va a estar aquí. Cuando yo haga, por ejemplo, si vamos a vender algo, un servicio o un producto, voy a crear un controlador que se llame Products Controller, pues, ¿no? O sea, dentro de la carpeta controlador voy a crear uno que se llame Productos, ¿no? Y ese se va a dedicar a todos los routers, la lógica de negocio de los puros productos que vendamos, en caso de que sea una tienda electrónica, ¿no? Ok, dale. I'm sorry about that. Well, um, here I explain in Spanish that I created the second refactoring here, and probably I just going to continue up until the end and then make the commits just to remain in the flow, so to speak. So I did something else. Aviso is already refactored. Let's open the next one. There we go. Let's basically cut the entire behavior from here and paste it here in static content JavaScript as an export, basically. What page is this? Casa Niños. Okay. And I'm going to refactor this anonymous function as a big arrow function. There we go. This is not just a static modification of an anonymous function. I do believe that the this keyword lose its context based on if you are using a big arrow function or not. So this is not just because it looks shorter. It does matter actually for the future. For the code I'm going to write in the future. Okay. Casa niños. Okay. And basically I need to use this. Let's copy this. Copy. And actually I could refactor this because I do have a lot of route files, plural. But first, let's make a refactor process first. Then let's try to condense all of these routes later, I guess. Okay, so Casa Niños. Here, we're going to do the same. Bar. Basically, I already have this line, so I don't really need to actually think about it. Let's paste the import for the controller file here. And let's use the static controller here dot get Casa Niños. And that's it. I'm going to save it. And let's go to Casa de los Niños. And there you go. Everything seems to be working properly. It's just a refactor, which means that although I am making changes in the source code, the web page should be worked just the same. No changes at all. That's a refactor. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing this. Probably I should just copy and paste all the codes this line. Since this line is going to be inserted in every single file anyway, maybe I should just do it right now for every other single file, you know. Save. I wonder, no. Save. Galería. Save. Index, of course. Inscripciones. Save. Mapa. Save. Método. Save. Pilar. Wait. Okay. Pilar. Save. Preguntas. Save. Users. Oh wait. Users I don't is not really part of the repo, but anyway. Users was created by the Express Generator application. So command line application. So yeah. Okay, so I already imported in every other single file. The route file, I already imported the controller file. Now what I need to do is refactor the actual. Let's close all. There you go. And let's see, I'm going to need to add the actual functions anyway. Let's see who's missing. Casa de los niños, niños. There we go, comunicados. I need to refactor this one into the static content file as an export. Comunicado. And save it. And there you go. Comunicado doesn't have access to the route yet. It's not being routed correctly. So let's add this dot get comunicado. And now, if I open the comunicado page, there we go, refresh. What is the comunicado? I think it's from the here. It's this one here, and it's rendering correctly. Comunicado. Here we go. Okay, so that's working. I'm going to skip testing, or maybe I'm just going to open the page just to try out Maybe if I make a typo or yet a mistake, I'm not going to pass it out. Uh, let's continue then. Basically, this is groundwork already. I'm just pushing plastic at this point again. I do that a lot. Export, and the page is called Comunidad Infantil. At this point, it seems to be like an unnecessary refactor, but that is at this point because the website is not really that big yet. It's going to be I'm going to reach the point that this is going to be way easier to manage as the site progresses to grow with functionality, because right now I am just refactoring a static website and 90% of the content is basically just a generic static website. I'm not inserting data into the website yet because I don't have the model yet, but I'm going to be doing that today. Anyway, let's continue here. Let's make a big arrow function. And here I'm going to use the controller get comunicado. Is the comunicado? No, it's get. Oh, see? Get comunidad infantil router. There we go. I need to focus here because I was about to make a mistake there. Okay, close that one. So this is done. Now this is next. Okay. Let's cut this anonymous function and let's make a new export. Dot get contacto. Get contacto. Space the anonymous function. Let's refactor this as a big arrow function, anonymous function. And that's it. Now let's go back to the router file and use the static content controller. Dot get contacto. And that's basically what I need to do. Now Galeria. Let's remove the anonymous function. I want to repeat myself a lot here, but I don't care. Exports dot, you are going to be called get Galeria, just as the router file's name. I'm going to paste the anonymous function, refactor the anonymous function into a big arrow function. And now I need to use that on the router. Get Galeria. Index is already done. Inscripciones. I should refactor the actual anonymous function from here. Create a new export. Is get inscripciones. Refactor this as an anonymous function. Ya voy. Ajá. ¿Quieres que los vaya a ver? Me voy a desayunar entonces. Ya voy para abajo. Ah, I'm sorry about that. I need to see something. Let's finish this. At least, how many pages I'm missing? Just some pages. Let's do them. Okay. Where was I? Inscripciones. Get inscripciones. Map. Just like the same. Go here. Make the new export. That. Get mappa. Oops. Mistakes. And now let's use it here. Dot get mappa. I'm not testing the page because I trust that it's going to work, but maybe when I get back, I can actually test them out. Let's refactor this again. Let's create a new export. Get method. Mm, Get method. I'm missing Pilar now. A new export. Get Pilar equals to an anonymous function. And now I need to use the controller function down here. Get Pilar. Actually, this comment is not okay. I should review this comment because although they don't really execute anything, um, proper comments need to be saying the truth all the time, in my opinion. So I'm going to review this line over here on every single file route in the router folder later. Okay, Pilar. Now preguntas, and preguntas should be the last page to refactor. Let's see. Another export. Get preguntas. Goes to the anonymous function. Let's refactor it with this. And pull it down here. Let's use it as a parameter down here. And that's it. Okay, let's make a quick review of the comments. Mapa. Index. Galería. Contacto. Comunidad infantil. Comunicado. Casa niños. Aviso. So, okay, everything seems to be fine. And now, before I leave, I may like to do the honors of getting everything here. So here, I need to paste the file to be modified here. And in this special case, since it's just a refactor and all the files were refactored in the same manner, I may like to add them all to the same commit and say, and that's it. There we go. Now, in order to really do something, I'm going to update the remote with this button. It's going to push the changes into the remote. I wonder if I can view, let's see. No, nothing else. I wonder if I can actually view the commit history here, but I guess it's not necessary because I can do it. So here, there we go. So I am 1, 2, 3. I am 3 commits in the future. I got a typo here, but I don't care enough. And that's it, basically. Well, thank you for coming in. I'm going to eat something, and I'm going to be back like in an hour or so. I need to continue now with the creation of the model, which is the representation of the data. And that's what I'm going to be doing next.